Starmer confronted by angry Brits in Madeira, a moment of reckoning. In a shocking display of public dissent, Labour leader Keir Starmer was met with furious backlash from British citizens during his recent visit to Madeira. This unprecedented confrontation is not just another political kerfuffle, it symbolizes a deeper, more troubling sentiment simmering beneath the surface of British society. The question looms large: has Starmer become the embodiment of betrayal at a time when the nation stands at a critical crossroads? Starmer's trip to the picturesque Portuguese island was meant to be a diplomatic outreach, but what unfolded was a stark reminder of the chasm between politicians and the electorate. As he attempted to engage with locals, a group of angry Brits confronted him, hurling accusations of abandonment over pressing issues that continue to plague the United Kingdom. This is not merely an isolated incident, it reflects a growing frustration among the populace, who feel increasingly alienated from their political leaders. Critics argue that Starmer's leadership has failed to capture the urgency of the moment. Many fear that the Labour Party, under his stewardship, has strayed too far from its roots, prioritizing appeasement over the voices of ordinary citizens. The parallels to Brexit are unmistakable. Just as the referendum served as a wake-up call to the establishment, this confrontation in Madeira signals that the British people will not forgive those who ignore their grievances. The stakes have never been higher. Historical context amplifies the significance of this event. The Brexit vote was a clarion call for change, a moment when the electorate demanded to be heard. Starmer's leadership, often described as cautious and reactive, now faces the harsh reality of public sentiment that is anything but forgiving. With accusations of being out of touch, his position becomes increasingly precarious. Critics argue that his approach lacks the boldness required to navigate this turbulent political landscape. This confrontation is not just about Starmer, it is emblematic of a broader struggle for power and influence in the UK. The powerful forces at play, economic instability, social unrest, and a restless electorate, create a cocktail of tension that no politician can afford to ignore. Analysts warn that if Starmer does not recalibrate his strategy, he risks losing not only the support of his party but the confidence of the nation itself. The potential consequences of such a misstep could be dire, leading to a political vacuum that may shift the balance of power in ways we cannot yet foresee. The implications of this moment extend beyond the Labour Party. They resonate with the electorate's deep-seated desire for authenticity and accountability. As Starmer faces the ire of constituents, one cannot help but draw parallels to past political figures who have faced similar confrontations. The ghosts of previous leaders loom large, reminding us that public anger can swiftly morph into political exile. Starmer must grapple with the reality that this could mark a new era of influence, one that demands a responsive and empathetic approach to governance. Public figures, including influential commentators and party insiders, have weighed in on this developing narrative. Many argue that Starmer must pivot towards a more grassroots approach, embracing the voices of those who feel marginalized. Critics contend that failure to do so may leave Labour vulnerable to a resurgence of populism, a movement that thrives on dissatisfaction and disillusionment with the status quo. The consequences of ignoring this swell of sentiment could prove catastrophic for the party and, by extension, the nation. As the dust settles from this confrontation, it is clear that the political landscape is shifting. The British people stand at a crossroads, and the urgency of the moment cannot be overstated. This event should serve as a wake-up call for all politicians. The electorate is watching, and they demand more than platitudes and promises. The struggle for a truly representative democracy is far from over, and the call for transparency and action resonates louder than ever. In conclusion, the developments in Madeira are not just a fleeting moment in political discourse. They represent a critical juncture for the Labour Party and the UK as a whole. As citizens, we must remain vigilant and engaged, holding our leaders accountable for their actions and inactions. This is a call to action for everyone who believes in a brighter future for Britain. Like, subscribe, and join the community of engaged citizens ready to shape the narrative of our nation. Together, we can ensure that the voices of the people are not just heard, but acted upon in a meaningful way.